Hello hook loopers, welcome to my crochet channel. I'm Sarah. Today with a fantastic new Tunisian stitch. I have called it the Tunisian Lacy Full Stitch, and it's a combination of two stitches we already know. That is to say, the Tunisian Full Stitch and the Tunisian Simple Stitch. This stitch is worked in multiples of 2 plus 3 stitches. So let's begin. As usual, I have started from a standard foundation row in Tunisian crochet of 13 stitches, which counts as row number 1. As usual, I will leave all links, all useful links, either in this video in the top right-hand corner and in the description below. So after my first row, my foundation row, I will start with the pattern right away. So I begin with a yarn over, and then I skip the first space between vertical bars, that is to say this space here between the vertical bar that's right under the loop on the hook and the first vertical bar, and then I insert the hook in the next space, this one, in a Tunisian full stitch, which is done like this. You go with your hook in the space between vertical bars. So here, inside here, there, you yarn over, pull through, and draw up a loop. Okay? And this is how it proceeds. So I yarn over again, I skip the next space between vertical bars, this one, and I insert the hook in the following space, this one, in a Tunisian full stitch. So I go inside, yarn over, and draw up a loop. And again, yarn over, skip the next space between bars, this one, and insert the hook in the following space in a Tunisian full stitch. Again, yarn over, skip the next space between bars and insert the hook in the following space in full stitch. Again, yarn over, skip the next space and insert the hook in the adjacent space, so here in full stitch. Okay, so now I am approaching the end of my forward pass. I have 3 stitches more to work, and what I do is I yarn over and I skip the next space between bars and the last space between bars, finishing with a neat closing stitch, as I like to call it. That is to say, I go with my hook in the border stitch here. So I insert it under both the front vertical bar and its back bar here, like this, so as to create a neat border here on the left as it is on the right at the beginning. Okay, so here I have my 13 stitches on the hook. And now proceed with my return pass, which is the standard one for this stitch. This means I yarn over and pull through 1 loop only first, then I yarn over again and pull through 2 loops together, yarn over and pull through 2 loops together, repeating the second movement until the end of the row and until I'm left with only 1 loop on the hook. Okay, so that was row number 2. In row number 3, we will begin with a Tunisian full stitch, which we will do in the space right after my loop here on the hook, where I made my first yarn over of the previous row. This is where I will insert my hook and make my Tunisian full stitch. Okay, Now I will work a Tunisian simple stitch in the next stitch, which is this one. It's the full stitch we made in the previous row. So here I insert the hook under the vertical bar from right to left, then I yarn over, pull through and draw up a loop. And this is how it goes on. Now another Tunisian full stitch in the next space, this one under the yarn over of my previous row. So here a full stitch, and then a Tunisian simple stitch in the next stitch here. Okay. Again, we will work a Tunisian full stitch in the next space under the yarn over of previous row, like this, and then a Tunisian simple stitch worked under the next vertical bar. And so it goes on. Here a Tunisian full stitch, followed by a Tunisian simple stitch. Here, full stitch, simple stitch, full stitch, and we will finish with a neat closing stitch in that border stitch. Here I have 13 loops on the hook and return. Okay, that was row number 3, and this is basically the rows repetition, a 2 rows repetition. That is to say, in my 4th row I will repeat what I've done in row number 2. So I will begin with a yarn over, I will skip the first space between vertical bars and insert the hook in full stitch under the next, into the next space between bars. Then I yarn over, skip the next space and insert the hook in a Tunisian full stitch in the following space, and so on and so forth. So yarn over, skip, full stitch, yarn over, skip, full stitch, yarn over, skip, full stitch, yarn over. Remember, at the end of the forward pass we will skip 2 spaces and just insert the hook in a neat closing stitch in the border stitch and return. Okay, and in the next row we will repeat what we have done in row number 3. So we begin with a Tunisian full stitch in the first space where we had our yarn over in previous row. So full stitch, and then we will work a Tunisian simple stitch in the next stitch. Here, Tunisian simple stitch, full stitch, simple stitch, full stitch, simple, full, simple, full, simple, full, and a closing stitch here in the border, and return. And that's it. That's the repeat. You will repeat it as long and as wide as you want it to be. As you see, it is an extremely quick and easy stitch to do and produces an original kind of texture, which is similar to the full stitch, but it's rather see-through and breezy in a way. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.